Hi and welcome to the footballtradingprofits.com Eletter, and obviously it's going to be a tennis focus this week. We're going to be looking at 2-0 to 2-1s in men's Grand Slam tennis, 2-1s to 2-2s, also trading pivotal moments such as a favourite must break the serve of his opponent. For example, he might be 5-4 down on his opponent's serve, must win, must break serve to stay in. Those kind of scenarios, if you get it right, you're going to get a nice swing in the odds because it's pivotal. 5-4 to 5-5, the market will be more confident behind the underdog, or not the underdog, the favourite 5-4 down, getting back and winning a crucial set. We're also going to look at the Betfair profit volume over time graph. But let me show you how you can practice tennis trading without actually putting any money forward. Let's have a look. Tennis24.com is your website. So you can hop in and go backwards, which I would encourage you to do, particularly in Grand Slam tennis. Play the what if game. So 27th of June, we're not quite at Wimbledon just yet. So let's fast forward to the Monday. And here we go. This is day one of Wimbledon. My first port of call is always at the match odds. Get an idea. For example, here. This is a kind of scenario that I would look for in Grand Slam tennis. I would make note of any local player in a Grand Slam tournament. So in the French Open, any French player could play above themselves. In Wimbledon, any Brit could play above themselves. Crawford, for example, look at that, winning the first set against 1.3 favourite Bellucci, and a normal service is resumed. Note, the first set was only won via a tiebreaker. That is a negative, because he's only just won the right points at the right time. He hasn't actually broken the Bellucci serve, unless they both broke each other's game and remained on serve. So you see the quick response. That's if you want to take it on first set. You might want to take it on first set because it's a tiebreaker. Also look at these shorties in Wimbledon, particularly day one. Target them, 1.06 shot. Anything 1.08 or lower, I would recommend you lay. For example, here, if you laid with just a £3 liability, you'd have made 50 quid. Bonsai, mate. Stroth. He's not even Australian, Bonsai. He should be an Aussie, mate. Bonsai. Getting a 3-1 win, mate, over a 1.06 shot, mate. Stroth. That's your first one. 1.01 shot. Loses the first set. Got to be laid at these odds. They're only human. Don't forget Boca Juniors, 1.01 against Auckland City. What was the final result there? 1-1. 1.05, this is what you expect. Comfortable from Tiafoe. So that's your first lesson. Anything 1.08 or lower is gettable. You're going to be picking up, if not wholesale wins, then trading angles, particularly on day one. Everyone is motivated apart from Bondar. 1.03, still it's the liability is extremely low, and as you can see, they do lose. We've had plenty of them in the French Open as well. 1.08 winning easily, Fernandez against Klugman. This is another scenario I look for. Again, it's the fellow countryman or countrywoman. I would be laying Fernandez winning the first set. Why? Because her odds are low already. She's expected to win. I'm playing the British fight back in front of home support. Liability extremely low because you've already won the first set as a 1.08 pre-match favourite. So it's going to cost you nothing just to see whether Klugman will turn up. Let's have a look at the men's game because it's all about those pivotal moments from 2-0 to 2-1. 2-1 to 2-2. If you wanted to play that as a trading angle, that is your possible angle in as well. We need a favourite cocking it up. Berrettini, everybody, or anybody, playing an unpronounceable name from Poland, as they normally are from Poland. Berrettini getting off on the right foot for a 1.13 favourite, as you can see there, 6-4 win, but he's 2-1 down. 1.13 favourite, 2-1 down. Must win the next set. Don't forget, doesn't have to win the match. Indeed, he lost. Must win the next set. That's the odds movement we're playing. Okay. I've learnt not to stay in and expect the fight back in the final set. I've learnt that in tennis, if you call the odds movement right, cash out. So that's a good example of a 2-1 to 2-2. He had to win that fourth set. He simply had to. No other excuses. You can see the other 5 setters up here. We've got a 1.01 shot Alcaraz taken to 5 sets. So got to be laid just for the hell of it. And Foggy in rare old form with a 7-6 and a 6-2. I personally also look at Australians for some reason. I don't know why I'm fixated on the Aussies, but they do tend to be battlers. You can see Kazau against Walton. It's a 2-set to love lead for Kazau. Second set, notably a tiebreaker. That could be your angle in. Walton, boom, boom. This is the trading angle from there to there. You could stay in for the 2-2 if you wanted, but you can see you're flirting with disaster here in a tiebreaker, because if Kazau wins it, Kazau wins the match, and the odds will shorten markedly, or Walton's odds will rise markedly. So potential angles there. Not fellow countrymen, but Australian players. It's just my personal choice there. Check out these other 5 setters. We've got Kekmanovic losing the first set, 2-1 down. Had to win 2-1 to 2-2. So you back Mickelson here. Sorry, you back Mickelson here at the beginning of this set. Wait for him to hopefully at 1.44 make it 2-2. Get out, because the pivotal set could go either way, as you can see with the tiebreaker. Also look at the locals, as you know. Monday against Paul, 1.05 shot yet again. The plucky Brit scenario. He's expected to win and win comfortably. But if he wins the first set, we might get a plucky Brit scenario from Monday. Liability will remain extremely low. Watch out for these tiebreakers as well. Can make life very difficult. When you have a 1.8 and evens match, you are naturally expecting a 5-setter, aren't you? Because the market can't split these two. So that's another potential angle in. We're looking for angles in, aren't we? We've got another potential here. Munir winning the first set against Bublik. Bublik fighting back. Boom, boom. Now you could have waited for the 2-1 if you wanted to. It's all dependent on whether you can watch the match and determine for yourself. But as a tennis trader, my advice is you've called the odds movement correct. Cash out. I am tempted by what I see, the green on Bublik, something like 46 quid or something for my stake. I'm fixated on that, but what I should be fixated on is the size of my liability and the size of the profit compared to the liability. That's the real gauge. So that's another important lesson to take. It's not about the final big Bublik profit if he wins the match, which indeed he lost. He cocked it up in the 4th set when he was ahead. So that's another lesson, the liability issue. But also look for fellow countrymen as well. I tend to look for them because they will know each other's game. And yet again, a 1.01 shot has to be laid, don't they? £1 liability to win you 100. They're only human. Stomach bugs have been around. Back injuries for Raducanu, etc., etc. Taylor Fritz, you're either with him or you're not. This is a green light to take on Mapeshi Perikar. Winning the first 2 sets via the slimmest of margins. These two simply can't be split. He just won the right point at the right time. This is how tight this is. 8-6, 10-8. Taylor Fritz has to win the 3rd set. Has to. That's your angle in. You either lay Mapeshi Perikar or you back Taylor Fritz. at this point here, 2-0 down. You wait for him. Your first exit would be his break of serve, the Mapessi serve. That's your first exit, because the market's going to assume he's going to win the set. So if you want to get out as early as possible, the break of serve is the exit. Alternatively, you wait for him to win the set, and then there'll be a more significant odds movement from there to there. So that's really the template you should be following, this Taylor Fritz Mapessi Pericard. Got a world top 5 player losing 2 straight sets. Do have a look at the point by points as well, because it would suggest that Taylor Fritz, of course, is not out of it. Has he been generating break points? You can tell that in the summary, the stats summary here. Generating break points, indeed. 4 out of 6 saved, though. But Taylor Fritz was generating them. Was he generating them in the first set? Just the one. Second set, just the one. So tight it was, but he was still the only one generating break points. So a degree of confidence going into set 3 that he can continue to generate those break points, and one of them came good. He generated 2, and he continued to ensure that Mapessi Pericard couldn't generate a break point. So that's a nice stat to give you a little bit of confidence. The ability to generate break points on the opponent's serve, even if you're losing the sets. Add in the fact he's world number 5, and you've got an excellent trade. So that's just a look at the stats. These are live stats. I use them as a confidence booster. I use them to see whether the player has been competitive, which green light for Taylor Fritz. So let's scoot on to today. We've got a 1.8 and even. So you're expecting a 5-setter. And indeed, that's the way it has eventuated. We've got Gael Monfils, 2-1 down. Fucsovic, do you trust Fucsovic to make this a 5-setter? Just about in a tiebreaker. So looking on to today's, how would you approach today's tennis? Well, what I tend to do is I will star matches where I can immediately think of an angle. Rublev, wheels falling off, temper tantrum. If he meets a stubborn server, you could see the kettle top blowing off. That's why I always like to star Rublev matches. Taylor Fritz, you've already seen his ability to fight back. He's done 2 5-setters, though. He's going to be feeling it in his legs. Well worth following today. Davidovich Fokina might take a set. He's okay on grass. Elsewhere, why have I starred this one? It's because we've got a Brit at Wimbledon. With Jack Draper losing to Marin Cilic yesterday, Cameron Norrie remains the British hope. And he's quite highly ranked. By high, I mean not well ranked compared to Draper. Karen Khachanov, always good for a laugh. Old Karen. World top 20. This tight rankings. You're expecting some potential struggles for Karen Khachanov. You can have a look as well at his record at Wimbledon so far. His struggles against Mochizuki did produce us a winning trade if you trusted Karen Khachanov. You can check the rankings. 37th. Who has he been playing? What rankings has he been playing? 144th. So a struggling performance, you'd have to argue, in that particular match. And McDonald, what ranking was McDonald? 88. So he's not really been playing a top 40 player who he meets today. So I would not expect a 3-0 win for Karen Khachanov. I think his odds are far too short, given it's a 5-set battle. So I would be starring that with a view to Karen Khachanov potentially struggling and hopefully revisiting that 3-2 he had in his last match. Struth, mate. It's only Mr. Thompson, mate. He's got the greatest mullet in the ATP Tour, mate. Struth. Where's me strides, mate? I like Jordan Thompson. Really good battler 2 consecutive 3-2 sets. That's something to look for as well. Check out the set betting. It's like checking out the correct scores. Both teams to score, win to nil, that kind of thing. This is as tight as you can get. Bonsai, mate. That's a good scalp for Jack Thompson. You can see whether he was favoured or not as well by the market in those matches. He wasn't. He was the outsider against Bonsai, mate. Really good result for the mulleted one there. Have a look against Kopriva as well. Check the rankings of his opponent. 78th against 44th. Was Jack Thompson favoured? He was favoured in that match, but he still struggled. So I think we've got a both teams to score scenario with Thompson today. And I think I would favour him 2-0 down. He's shown battling qualities. Struff and Alcaraz. Struff beat Algo Eliciem yesterday. He is exceptional on grass. That is just ridiculously short. At 1.01, Alcaraz has already had a 5-setter against another fellow journeyman in Fognini. So Struff, who is renowned on grass, is going to make this boy work. And you've got it's not going to cost you to find out, is it? So this is how my routine is to shortlist matches. Why have I listed this one? Emma Raducanu, Brit, not even favoured, but she might have the plucky Brit scenario. So Sabalenka winning the first set, I would be laying her. I think she's world number 1 now, so she's up against it, Emma. Madison Keys, 1.13, normally reliable. Cartel, another Brit, 1.73, suggests a tough encounter today, potential 3-setter there. Naomi Osaka, with a view to taking her on. She's a bit flaky mentally. She hasn't been this short, this Wimbledon, so that could be a sign in and of itself. So as you can see with tennis trading, I don't look for every match. I star the ones where I can have an idea pre-match and then get involved. Let me show you the price volume over time graph. This is unique to trading tennis, really. I don't think you can do this quite on the football, but you can do it with the tennis because of the service games. There seems to be created a lot of support and resistance lines, which you can trade off if you know, for example, if you're used to trading on the financial markets using support and resistance. Good example here, Waza against Johanna Konta. This, you can see this level of resistance here, or supporting this. But there's nothing prior to it to confirm whether it's a real support and resistance line. Here, bounce off here, bounce off, bounce off. You're assuming on the third it's going to go up as it has done on the previous two. Resistance, this level here at 1.8 looks to be important, doesn't it? She just crept above it. But you can see a consistent moving off the 1.8. So if you can spot these, if you can try trading tennis, you don't need any tennis knowledge really to trade using the price volume over time graph. It's a simple case of support and resistance lines. Let me see if there's an actual live match on which has been interrupted. Let's have a look. So this is the match between Fucsovics and Gael Monfils. You're not really seeing a detailed Fucsovics map here, but look at the height his odds would have got during this match. And look at how he's responded. So there is, particularly in a match like Mupesi Perigord and Monfils, Fucsovics and Monfils, potential 5-setter, you've got to be backing at these kind of odds, haven't you? You get a clearer indication of support and resistance with Gael Monfils, I think. A consistent 1.25 here, won't break below that. Slightly broke below it, but again bounced up. 1.25 won't break below it. Did break there, that's significant. The fact that you've had 1, 2, 3 bounces off here, surely you could be laying down here, because he's had those bounces off. You're getting even shorter odds, even lower liability. Just in case we get another bounce off. Gets to 1.25 again, bounce. 1.5 is the other significant Game one feast price. Anything above evens, he seems to be able to cope with. Market's reluctant to get his price above evens. So when it does go above evens, he could be backable here, which is the state we find ourselves in now. So it's a real story of the match, isn't it? Problems early on. Dominating the match. This is the big spike where you would have got Vuksovic at these kind of odds. This is the match itself. Let's have a look. 6-4, 6-1. So 1-1. 2-1 to Monfils. That you must have had Gael Monfils in that final set, leading in the tiebreaker. So let's have a look at that one. Because you saw that big spike in the odds, didn't you? So let's have a look at the point by point in this final set. I would suggest Gael Monfils 3 or 4-0 up in the tiebreaker. Let's have a look. Set 4. No, as tight as can be. Wow. Where was that spike? There was a spike. I can't see where the spike occurred. So interesting. So we are finally poised. If you're going to play the price volume over time graph for Gael Monfils, you would be backing him over evens, wouldn't you? The market won't let him get really over evens. That's the first time he's been over evens for the whole of the match since that point there. So there's an opportunity to back if you're following the price volume over time graph. Hopefully you get that break down, which has been the norm. It's tended to be an under evens match for Gael Monfils throughout. So he has been the dominant force and he indeed had that match point there. So that's an introduction to tennis. It's as complicated or as easy as you want to make it. The easy element is just to look for a favourite or a seeded player against an unseeded player in a Grand Slam. Going 2 sets down or having to win the next set to stay in the tournament. Simple angle. More nuanced angles would be to be playing this kind of a tiebreaker here. Who needs to win the tiebreaker? Vuksovic has to win it. So is there any way you can get on favouring him? Very, very tight, isn't it? So good luck with your tennis if you're getting involved in tennis. My eternal tennis trading manual is working its way through, but I can't really, within a manual, explain to you the nuances of having to make personal decisions, such as if you're getting a match where you've had 3 7-6 sets, it could pivot either way, couldn't it? So that's the kind of match you don't get involved in. Have a great day. I hope this tennis introduction is worked for you, or you've at least got some interest in it. Football returns this evening with the Irish Premier Division, First Division and KUPS scoring 9 goals in the last 2 matches after 5 consecutive without a goal. That's going to be of interest to me later on. It's a bit of a long one, but I hope you're going to learn a bit about tennis today. I'll see you for the Eletter next week, and we will be preparing for the new season. I've got a whole raft of reports on the dark horses from last season, the performers defensively and offensively last season in all of the major European leagues. That's information we can take into this season. Arsenal, for example, going to be an extremely difficult side to score 2 goals against, I would suggest, this season. Best defence in the Premier League. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And I hope you enjoy it and profit from the tennis.